So when you make a speech or lecture in the United States, usually you begin with a joke. In Korea or in Asia, you do with an apology. So tonight I wasn't sure what to do because it's a Stanford event happening in Korea, right? I'm from Korea, but I'm teaching at Stanford. So I'm going to start with a story of my own. So it was in 1983 when I boarded a flight. It was the first time in my life to take a flight to attend graduate school in the United States. So I still look quite sharp, right? And at the time, I had no doubt in my mind that I will come back to Korea to teach or work. But 33 years later, I'm still stuck at Stanford. This raises interesting question because am I a case of brain drain for Korea, of course, assuming I have a brain. So from conventional perspective, the answer would be yes, because Korea lost at least one brain power. But from different perspective, I may not be such a case of brain drain, and I'll explain why. Today there is growing competition for global talent around the world. Many countries and companies are trying to attract foreign talent into their own market. The best example who has used global talent most effectively is where we live, Silicon Valley. So if you visit Google's or Apple's, you will find many, many engineers from China, from India, or from Korea. This is made possible because now the foreign labor can move around much more than before. In addition, demographic changes has further intensified competition for global talent. Many countries are facing very serious demographic crisis due to low birth rate and aging populations. Countries in Europe and Asia, from Italy to Germany to Japan and even China, they are expected to see shrinking population in the coming years. So what to do? So they are trying to attract foreign talent into their own countries. So what about Korea? Korea is no exception. The situation may be more dire here than other places. When I was growing up in Korea in 1960s and 70s, the Korean government was very busy trying to contain population growth. So some of you may remember that, let's have only 2 babies, whether they are boys or girls. And the policy worked quite nicely. The trouble is that now Koreans don't have enough babies. So low birth rate and then aging, the population is aging very fast. Korean government has tried to increase birth rate, more babies, by spending lots of money. Do you know how much they spent for the last 10 years? About $50 billion. Right? But with a little impact. So what are you going to do? So now some people are saying that now it's time for Korea to open up its doors to migration, just like other countries facing similar situation. But now the question is migration the answer for Korea? Before I answer the question, let me share with you interesting finding. This is done by a very famous French business school, not as famous as Stanford. It's about global talent competitiveness index. As you can see from the table, overall, China, Japan, Korea, they have done very poorly. On the other hand, many immigrant countries like US, Australia, Canada topped the list. What happened? I think one factor that may have made a difference is tolerance to immigrants. Okay, these results show that non-immigrant societies like Korea may have bigger challenges in attracting foreign labor. What can you do? How can Korea compete for global talent? I don't think migration is the answer for Korea. I don't think Korea is ready for mass migration yet. Historically, Korea has emphasized the value of ethnic unity, and similar thinking and attitude still remain very strong among Koreans, right? In addition, most foreign talent, may come to Korea to study or work, but not to live permanently. So therefore, Korea needs an approach that accommodates many interests of foreign labor and also considers social, cultural environment. Then you may be wondering that what would that be, right? So I'm going to argue that Korea can take an approach that appreciates social capital aspects of global talent. So when you think of global talent or talk about global talent, we tend to focus on human capital aspects, just like skills, education, knowledge, and experience. Of course, they are very, very important, right? But at the same time, social capital is as important as human capital. I know many of you didn't come to this event, not just to listen to lectures, right? But to build networks, because we all know that social networks are very important. Any global talent must possess not only skills and knowledge, but also social networks and social capital. In today's world, in my view, we should appreciate a particular type of social capital called transnational bridging. When somebody has more than one ties, or ties in more than one place, I'm sure many of you do, then you can bridge or connect between two different places, right? And by bridging different networks, we can connect different cultures. We can facilitate cross-national collaboration that is very essential for today's international business transaction. So the transnational bridging can be a very good strategy for Korea in competing for global talent. As an advanced country, Korea can offer many valuable experience and networks for foreign talent. While they are in Korea, Korea can help them to build social ties, and then encourage them to bridge between Korea and their place of new residence. Okay, this is what I call brain linkage, not in biological sense. So now back to my own story. By staying in the United States, I feel I can play more productive and meaningful role by bridging academic and policy communities in US and Korea. Had I come back to Korea, it would have been much more difficult. So to me, this is what Korea should pursue in competing for global talent, which is converting brain drain into brain linkage.